Okay, so let's jump back in here. And what we're going to do now, whether you have two or four or maybe eight tiles, we need to merge them together. Okay? And it's a fairly simple task. Anytime you want to do any kind of geoprocessing, this analysis tab is what you're looking for. Okay, and this opens up a whole bevy of tools for you to use. Now, anytime I start to do this geoprocessing, that's when I will go down. It's hard for me to do this when I'm screen recording, but I'll go down to the bottom right hand corner of my screen, and I'll go to the OneDrive, okay, and just pause it, okay, and then all we need to do is save our project every so often, and then when we're done, we save all of our work, we close out of GIS, and then we fire up OneDrive again. And think of that as if you're putting your external hard drive into the computer. It's pretty much the same thing. Except instead of going to your hard drive, it's going to Microsoft's, mega hard drive somewhere. Okay. So, and the nice thing is Microsoft's not going to lose your OneDrive, your jump drive. That used to happen all the time. Okay, so let's head up here to tools. And this actually works well, this search function, although you have to know the names of the tools. And this one is called Mosaic. Okay, that's how they refer to stitching together two raster files. Okay, so we just want this Mosaic to new raster. All right, and so we'll click on that. And then it takes you down here for some reason. You got to click on it again. And then you can just drag and drop your rasters right over here, which is really nice because sometimes I've had about 30 of them. Okay, now the output location is going to be in our elevation folder. So if you click on that, and look down here, that's not the name of the file, it's just the name of the folder it's going into. Okay, so we don't want it in hydrography, we want it going to elevation. Okay, now here's where we name it. Okay, and so I'm just going to call this Panama. And you need to keep these relatively short. Okay, and no spaces, no funny characters, just those underscores. And then just do a TIFF with one F. Don't ask me why, but that's just the way it is. Now the spatial reference is going to be the current map. Remember, we set that projection and we want to make sure we use it. Now this pixel type is important, and it's going to be different if you got USGS data as opposed to the shuttle data. But you can find that out by just double clicking on one of these DEMs and going to source and raster information. Okay, and I'm dealing with a 16-bit pixel depth. Okay, and it's short. All right, so let's see, we can change this to 16-bit, and I am going to choose unsigned. Okay, I believe we all should do that because unsigned is when you have it just goes from sea level up. All right, so just let's keep it simple. All right, now cell size, just leave that alone. Now number of bands, we're dealing with grayscale. Okay, so remember when we talked about resolution, we were always talking about pixels, and colored pixels have 3 bands. They have a red, a green, and a blue. That's why you always hear RGB values, okay? Grayscale, obviously, you only have black to white, okay? So the number of bands is simply going to be 1, okay? All of this jibber jab, just leave that alone. Come over to environments. I would just leave all of this alone, okay? And let's run this. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. Great. Okay, now you can see a nice, really nice difference. So if you uncheck the Mosaic, you're going to see that it also stretched the values of black to white across your mosaics, so you don't have that tiling look, okay? Now, let's get rid of what we don't need. So we're going to right click on here and choose remove. And then we're going to go to the catalog, and we're actually going to delete these guys so we can travel lightweight. You never need extra. That's why we have terabytes on that server. Okay, let's do a Control S, and we're looking good. All right, now the next major step, and usually it's your first step, is establishing the boundaries of your AOI, okay? Now, I think a number of you did parks, so if you go to the portal and go to groups, okay, and click on our group, I believe I put in a USA Parks. Let me see where that is real quick. Okay, I couldn't find it. But if you just go, okay, so we were at the project. I was trying to get you to go to the groups. Head over to the portal, okay, and just type in USA Parks, okay, and then you can just, now this is going to look funny on mine, so let me just open up a new map. Okay, and this has, I believe, all of the national parks and state parks, regional, county, and even the local parks. Okay, you got to zoom in a bit to start seeing this, but here's some good boundaries if you did one of these parks. Okay, if you didn't, never fear. Now, I'm in a situation where I have done some research, and I've been looking for some kind of boundary, and I think a lot of us might have this same issue, but it's not really an issue at all, because what we're going to do now is we're going to go up to this insert tab, and we're going to choose a new layout, and we're going to stick to about the 14 by 20 range, okay? 16 by 18, I think, is what my friend recommended, who did this in architecture. So I'm going to click on this guy and double click on the layout and change this to 16, okay? And then come up to general, and I'm going to call this my 16 by 18 layout. Okay. And then what we can do is, let me get rid of this guy, is come here and just grab your map. And so you got to remember what we're going to be creating, at least we're going to be doing some renderings and things like that, but what we're going to be creating here primarily to get started is a series of contours, okay, that are going to fill up. You're going to have a base sheet of basswood, okay, and it's going to be this large, okay, and then your contours are going to start coming in. Now, if the contours butt up against or go outside of your basswood, that's fine. We just cut them off here and it's gonna stack up like, you know, a pile of books. I think it's gonna make sense as I get a little further, as we get a little more into it. Okay, so one thing I want to do before anything else is get rid of these guys, okay? Because that seemed to be an issue with the last project. Okay, so let's take care of that right away. We're going to come up to dynamic text and scroll down to service layer credits, okay? And we're simply going to draw a box. Anytime you insert something, you get that crosshairs, and you just draw a box with your left mouse button. Come over here, and you may have more text here, so do yourself a favor and just call these what they are so you know what is what. Lock it up and shut her down. Okay, now, okay. So I have jumped back over to my map and I went to locate and I just typed in, I guess they would say Culebra, cut Panama, and boom, this pops right up. Okay. Now when you get a good location like that, come up here to bookmarks, and it's just handy so you don't have to search for it again. Okay. All right, perfect. Now I can go back to my layout, okay, and activate this guy and come up to my bookmark, and boom. Now I'm at the Culebra cut. Okay, now remember how we did this before. We want to set a nice scale and get this really looking the way, you know, we want to. And I also want to see like, hey, what kind of, ooh, that's going to be super dramatic. Okay. Now when you do this, this is going to be really nice. I mean, this, see, I was hoping a lot of you would have, and I really would encourage you to search through your site for a river or a stream that may run down the middle or even off to the side. And I'm thinking of various ways where we could etch it. This laser cutter we're going to use not only cuts wood, but it can etch patterns like hatch patterns like CAD does. And I mean, we're gonna burn your initials into the wood. I mean, it's gonna be pretty cool. Okay, so you can come over here and just make sure when that layer is selected that you've done your DRA, okay, and that you're on the minimum maximum. Okay, now I also want to get some features in here that highlight maybe some of the greenery. This is a national park in Panama, so that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is just activate the, oh, I am activated. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a bit. Okay, and there's not a whole lot there. And I want to stay with that Culebra, so I'm actually going to go back to that bookmark. Okay, now that's a bit of a boring composition, very symmetrical, okay, and so I'm going to zoom out carefully with this fixed zoom out, okay, and there we go. I really like this shape here, so I'm going to pull that down. And then that's a very elegant shape. And then there's a nice water body here that can balance things out. Okay, and then I might just move that down so those roads are out of there. But okay, now I gotta set my scale, and I'm just gonna leave it at 18,000 because I like the look I got. Okay, And now what we want to do is go back to layout. Okay, once you've got all that set up, and double click on your map frame. Okay, and let's make sure we got our numbers right. Everything's spot on here. Okay, let's take this stroke off. It's just gonna mess things up. And now we've got all of this set up. Okay, and my north arrow is gonna point perfectly straight up, well projected. And so I am going to fixed center and scale that, and we are good to go. Okay, so let's do a Control S, and I want to stop here, okay, for today. All right, not for the whole class, but we're kind of moving pretty fast here, and I've done some research on my site, but now you guys are getting to know your sites better, okay? And what I really want and what we need to do for this project is I want you to spend the rest of the class time. I put some great links on Blackboard, but I want you to research your site online. I know that might sound kind of boring, okay? But I really have some good sites. I mean, I just typed in shape files of the Panama Canal, and I ended up going to the National GIS data portal for that country. Okay, Wikipedia might sound actually, this is a great site, guys. To be honest, everything is it's not copyrighted. You can use the photos. There's these amazing maps. Look, there's the section. So don't knock Wikipedia. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and just be careful. Double check a few things if it seems a little off. All right, and the other thing I want us to do, and this is super cool, is there is on the Blackboard a link to the Library of Congress. Okay, this is an absolutely incredible resource that our government offers. I mean, this is the nation's library, and they have spent literally centuries, collecting old maps, manuscripts, books, speeches, and now everything is digitized, okay? And it's just awesome, okay? I mean, look at this rendering that was done when was this done? Back in 1912, when they were first proposing to dig the Panama Canal. I'm gonna put that on my presentation board. I mean, that's not my work, but that is such a cool way to show the history of what a momentous event this was for the entire world, really, and how hard it was to get through this area. Okay, so that was just one map, but I want you to see that we can also, and this, I really want you to look for an historical map of your area, okay? And there's some really beautiful ones here, like this survey map. And what we can do is we can drape this over your topography in GIS, of course, and then do a rendering in that Stager program. There's just a lot of cool stuff we can do. And then it's just as easy as this to download, and look at these dimensions, okay? So it's a super high quality scan. So really search through this website. I would also search some other websites as well, okay? And then if you're out of the country of the US, and even if you are, go here, okay? Because this is where I found all this cool stuff on Panama. Of course, we built the canal, so there's going to be extra stuff. But the point is, they're going to have stuff on everything. So all of these images and data sets that you get, make sure you put them, okay, in that, let me just do this. Here we go. Make sure you put them in our project folder, okay, and put them in notes and images, okay, and then I want to see what you have by the end of the class and what your ideas are for it. Now, if you come along other data sets, like maybe you find a file that deals with land cover, like forests, okay, maybe you find a really good lakes and rivers file, you know, obviously download that and put that in here as well, okay, and that's going to get us off to a really great start. Okay, so that's it for these videos. Obviously, that's just it for this class, but I'm excited about this project. You guys picked some good sites, and I'm here, you know, to help you every step of the way. So let me know what you need, and I'll see you tomorrow.